want, give me what I need, give me what I want that speed.
Live from Hickory, North Carolina, welcome to tonight's NASRN coverage of the Hickory Exhibition, the preamble event for Segment 2 of the 2026 season of the Fast Renegade Pro Cup Series. Hi, hello, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Live from the Hickory Motor Speedway, once again, and welcome everybody to tonight's Intercast on your home for the Fast Racing League, the North American Sim Racing Network. My name is Trey, right here on the NASRN for tonight's broadcast of the preamble preseason event here at the Hickory Motor Speedway. And tonight we're back in the saddle for the Fast Renegade Pro Cup Series after wrapping up Segment 1 last week up in the Finger Lakes region of the Empire State at Watkins Glen International. We opened the middle portion of the year with 100 laps at this nearly 3/4 of a century old short track facility here in Western North Carolina. Glad to have everybody aboard. And we are in for a fun one here tonight, as got RJ Bishop doing his best Travis Pastrana impression. That might be the end of him in terms of a practice, but we only have a handful of cars in the lineup here tonight. But doesn't mean that it's not going to be even funner than we have anticipated, as there's a good look at John Foreman. Got a win last season, last segment at the Bristol Motor Speedway. See what he can do here tonight on the short track. Currently Drew Fast in the 74, the only Ford in the field tonight, if I'm not mistaken, so far at least. Currently top of the charts, a 13.73 of the 5 cars that have taken down a lap as fast as going to loop that 74 Valvoline Mustang around. Ignore the driver that put down a lap in 6th, ladies and gentlemen. We can all agree on that, but Segment 1 coming to a close 1 week ago was fantastic after was a really fantastic opening segment here for the RPCS. Of course, Joshua Moyers, who is currently not in the grid here tonight as of right now. He won that Segment 1 championship over Randall Coleman. Randall is in the server. He is currently running in that 2nd spot in car number 9. But currently, only a handful of cars on track. You got Tyler Stallhood right now in 4th of the cars that have put down a time, and RJ Bishop, who's still upside down, in that 5th spot. Here he is in that 99 machine, as everybody is going to go back here into their respective spots. With only about 3 minutes to go here in practice, we'll go ahead and take a look at the track itself. And this is certainly a unique track here at Hickory. It's a little bit, rough around the edges in terms of just the shape. It's got a little bit of a kidney bean shape on the front straightaway, and the back straightaway is rounded out like you would see at the Chicagoland Speedway in Joliet, Illinois. It's only just over 1/3 of a mile here at Hickory, and it's got a lot of character as well. You got 12 degrees of banking in the corners. You got 8 degrees of banking in the straightaways. It's a little bit like mini Dover from what we saw earlier today with the NASCAR Cup Series and the NASCAR All-Star Race. So we'll go ahead and follow RJ Bishop. We'll see what escapades he gets up to in the double 9 car. Like we said, that beautiful Travis Pastrana automobile. And he is going to Dale Earnhardt it. And he is going to do a little bit of a skateboard trick, and we're going to send our drone back up to the top of the grandstands. This beautiful track here, just about an hour, a little bit hour and change, northwest of Mooresville, North Carolina, the home to many teams in the NASCAR area, whether it be the NASCAR Cup Series or all the way down to the ARCA Menard Series. But it is going to be a fun one here. Unfortunately, there are not 12 cars starting. We've got only 5 so far in the server. Might get Tate Dorsey here coming in late. No sign of the 64 yet, but it's going to be 100 laps, which is going to be about 36 miles. A little bit short of a race here for this Segment 2 exhibition. Pit speed 40 mile an hour, and tire wear and fuel is not going to be that big of a deal. So with how short this track is, you're able to go a long distance before running out of fuel and blowing tires, but as we see with Drew Fast here rocketing around in that 74 car with about 10 seconds to go here in practice. You know, tire wear, it's not going to be as big of a deal as you would think. You know, it's not going to be like Darlington levels of tire wear, but it is certainly going to come into play here tonight. And it's going to be fun to see how these 5 cars all interact with one another here in the season opener for tonight as we get a look at the Segment 2 schedule. Actually, we're going to go ahead, reset the server while we do that. We'll get things all reset, and we'll bump immediately here into qualifying with only 5 cars inside the server as of right now. And we will be resetting the server here momentarily. As qualifying will proceed for the 5 drivers that will put down a time here for tonight's race. Here at 9 o'clock local time, and while we get everything situated here, we'd like to thank everybody for making it possible to get the North American Sim Racing Network up to 500 subscribers here on YouTube. It certainly takes a little bit of a village to get all of this done, and we could not thank everybody enough for supporting the NASRN, both the online and offline side of things, and it's going to be a fun rest of this summer stretch and the rest of 2026. We got so much in store. And we're going to go ahead and send things downstairs, or we're going to take a quick break as drivers go through qualifying, and when we come back, it'll be happy hour time and then the start of the Hickory exhibition here for tonight's race at the Hickory Motor Speedway here on the North American Sim Racing Network's coverage of the Renegade Pro Cup Series, here part of the Fast Racing League. We are back here at the Hickory Motor Speedway. As qualifying has wrapped up here for tonight's action on the North American Sim Racing Network for the Fast preseason opener here tonight for what is going to be a fantastic race here this evening, as we'll take a look at tonight's starting lineup here with 5 cars on the server. Drew Fast is going to start from that pole position there in car number 74. RJ Bishop is going to be in that second spot. Randall Coleman, Tyler Stallhood will be row 2, and John Foreman will start from row number 3 to make up the 5-car grid that we'll have here this evening. And it is going to be a fun one. Accidentally throwing up our brand new motion graphic there. Love it when you hit the wrong button here. So we'll go ahead and get that all situated, and we shall... Nope, it is showing once again. There we go. And finally, we got the right button hit. Hit the red button, as Jensen Button would say, as happy hour is upon us here for the next 3 minutes. Like we were talking about, going over the upcoming schedule here for the 12-race second segment of 2026 here for the Fast Renegade Pro Cup Series. Of course, you got Hickory tonight as the exhibition, and then next week we go down to the Charlotte Motor Speedway down in the Queen City, down in Concord, North Carolina, just a little bit southwest of here, southeast, I should say. That's going to be on same night as the Coke 600. Of course, almost every race will be should be broadcasted here on the NESRN here on Sunday nights for Fast. And then pretty much we are following everything we can here as close as can be. We got Nashville, Michigan, and Pocono for the opening 4 races of the season. Hopefully we'll have Naval Base Coronado. Hopefully that will be created by A23 Designs. Randall was talking with Randall Coleman a little bit at the back end of last week's broadcast about the potentiality of A23 putting out the Navy Air Base Speedway. Navy Base Speedway. Potentially for race number 5 of the season. We got back-to-back road courses on Father's Day weekend, and then we go out west. We remain out west to Infineon at the Sonoma Raceway. Go back to Chicagoland. That's going to be our second tape-delayed broadcast of the season on Monday, July 6th. Go down south to the Atlanta Motor Speedway for race number 8 of the season. North Wilkesboro will be tape-delayed as well. Then you got Indianapolis, Iowa, and we go down to Strawberry Hill to the Richmond Raceway to round out the 12-race calendar here for segment number 2 of the season. Glad to have everybody aboard. And Drew Fast, top of the charts here in the 74. He's going to be looking to start off this second segment strong. So we will send things downstairs here momentarily for pre-race ceremonies, as RJ Bishop got into the wall a little bit there in that double 9 car. He's blinking in and out, but he is able to get back to his pit stall in time. And while he does repairs, we're going to go ahead and send things downstairs once again here to get things all situated, ready to go here for race number 1, or rather race number 0, the exhibition for segment 2 of the season here after a great race for the Dover Motor Speedway for the All-Star race. We've got the Fast Renegade Pro Cup Series version of the of an All-Star race, or at least we got the exhibition style here tonight. Here on the North American Sim Racing Network's coverage of the Fast Renegade Pro Cup Series. We're back here in just a couple of moments for the 100-lap feature event.
Drivers, to your car.
We're back here at the Hickory Motor Speedway, and it's time to turn them on and grid them up as we send things down trackside for the most famous words in motorsports. Fire the engines here for tonight's 100-lap feature event here at the Hickory Motor Speedway. With all 5 cars ready to be gridded up here, we're just awaiting for the command here for tonight's 100-lap event.
Drivers, start your engines!
100 laps going on the board here tonight. Taking a look at the starting lineup once again. It's going to be Drew Fast that'll be leading the field of the green flag in that Valvoline Ford, the only. We got 2 Fords, both of them starting on the front row. RJ Bishop starting on the outside of row number 1. Got the Revolution Motorsports teammates there in row number 2. John Foreman rounds out the 5-car field. Here we are. We're live, and segment 2 is underway here at Hickory. Pretty good start for RJ Bishop on the outside lane, looking to clear that 74 car going around through the corner. Off that final corner, ooh, RJ gets into the wall just a little bit. No harm, no foul. And we are off and running here. Go ahead and get our lap count up and running. Get that refreshed. And there we go. Drew Fast out front, RJ Bishop right behind him. You got Coleman, you got John Foreman and Tyler Stolhood in that good battle there for 4th. The laps, they go by a cool plenty here already on lap number 4. Stolhood into the outside wall. And, you know, these laps are going to go by a little bit faster than what our ticker should be able to keep up with. But it's Fast, Bishop, and Coleman. Right now, your podium, and around going Tyler Stolhood, and John Foreman just able to snooker on by. But the yellow flag is out for the opening time tonight. And the Fuel Racing League admin is going to loop that 7 Exalta car around and put us under the caution flag for the first time here this evening. Nobody is going to get the free pass as everybody was on the same lap. And we'll see if we'll get anybody coming down the pit lane after only 5 laps under the green flag. Drew Fast has led all but 1 of them. And it looks like we might get some takers. No, we're not. Randall Coleman will say, you know what, I'm going to roll the dice. And he's going to drop from 3rd. He's going to remain in 3rd. As long as he has a relatively solid pit stop as we follow along with this 7 machine of Stolhood on a very tight pit lane here at the Hickory Motor Speedway. All 3 Chevrolets coming down the pit lane. The 2 Revolution Motorsports teammates. John Foreman coming down in that Switchfoot Camaro. Take a look and see what happened to car number 7 as he just simply looped it around through the 3rd and 4th turns. We got a quick look at what happened there. Looks like the back end just kind of stepped out from underneath the 7, and Stolhood got pretty light going through the corner, spins it around, and John Foreman able to just snooker on by. The yellow flag immediately flying here. With natural cautions turned on here in the Fast Racing League, and we'll see if this will be a quickie yellow or not. Looks like RJ Bishop also dropping to the back of the field. I believe he came down the pit lane as well. And the lights are out on the Full Circle Racing Designs Toyota Camry pace car, the official pace car of the NCS 2022 mod. As RJ Bishop did in fact come down the pit lane as the pace car pulls off. Drew Fast, the only car that is yet to pit in this race. 6-lap older tires and everybody else. Green flags back out in the air, and here we go. Randall Coleman jumping up to the outside lane as he's going to get a little bit of a tap there from the 74. A little bit of net code contact there, but no harm and no foul. And Foreman moving underneath the 99. He got very loose going through the corner. Stolhood is going to just about run up on the back end of the 70. And that's going to allow the top 2 to begin to pull away from everybody else, and Drew Fast has looked to be the class of the field so far this evening, already a tenth of the way through this 100-lap event here tonight. And again, you look at the race analysis, there's not going to be a whole lot of chances for these guys to come down under the green flag. You know, these laps already going by, clicking. You got maybe a half a second of fall off. Fuel is going to be a non-factor here at this oblong track. Fast going to get into the wall a little bit. And how about Randall Coleman and RJ Bishop? Both trying to catch down this 74 car, but you go back a couple of nights ago to Wednesday evening down at the Dover Motor Speedway, rather up at the Dover Motor Speedway. Randall Coleman absolutely dominated the Fuel All-Star race at the Monster Mile, leading 88 of the 100 laps on the board at the Dover Motor Speedway to claim his third consecutive Fuel All-Star Championship, and he is lurking on the back bumper of this 74 machine. Pretty hard here over these last couple of laps. Got in the wall a little bit there as we go on board with the 9 machine. We'll take you for a couple of laps around the Hickory Motor Speedway. That's just third of a mile long automotive track. And a beautiful reskin of this facility done by Project Short Track, and a little bit of a project of keeping that 74 car straight as he got wicked tight going off of turn 2. But Drew has been able to keep it out front of the runner-up finisher in last segment's points championship. Led 18 laps so far tonight, make it next 19 this time by. We're already a fifth of the way through the standings. All 5 cars within 5 seconds of the 74. Tyler Stallhood has actually dropped back 5.2 seconds. Which doesn't sound like a lot, but that's about half this track. Here at this tiny little bull ring here in Hickory, North Carolina, and Coleman is certainly waiting for Fast to potentially make a mistake here. He's got a rear view mirror full of RJ Bishop, and RJ doing a pretty good job of staying right behind that number 9 car. Top 3 have pulled away. John Foreman back in 4th, and Tyler Stallhood banging off the outside wall. Just about loops it around, does a nice job of keeping the car from underneath of him. But he has dropped significantly off the pace, and he might be an issue for these drivers, as Randall Coleman had a little bit of a ledge underneath the 74, not going to quite take it. And that's what you get here with these fast races. It's not always the biggest field in the world, but there is some damn competitive racing here in the Renegade Pro Cup Series, where again, you've got 3 competitive cars. They're still on top of one another. Bishop's going to go into the wall just a tad. He's trying to find a way around this 9 car. Randall's playing a 2-front war as the league admin right now, and you got Drew Fast just trying to hold off these guys already. Past the quarter of the way mark through the race. And currently Tyler Stallhood in danger of going 1 lap down in front of these drivers. It's gone 26 laps without being put a lap down by the leaders. I'd say that's a lot better than some certain drivers in the ARCA Menard series, particularly a single driver in the ARCA East series. If you know, you know, and won't elaborate anymore. I know everybody just loves vague posting, but we won't elaborate anymore. Coleman goes up the track. It's going to open up the door for RJ. Bishop trying to get the power down underneath and looking to go around, and Randall Coleman loops it around off turn number 4. Does he goes completely sideways? He does. Loops that 9 car around. The caution flag flies for the 2nd time tonight. It's Randall Coleman, who is running in 2nd, will fall off of these drivers, and that's exactly what Tyler Stallhood wanted to see, as he was in danger of going a lap down. It comes at the cost of his teammates' track position that will drop the 9 car down to the 4th spot. And here we go once again. Down the pit lane, the top 2 drivers who have been the class of the field so far this evening. So RJ Bishop taking some extra care there. He's down the pit lane. Drew Fast taking 4 tires in that 74. Got 4 cars being showcased here. Drew coming out of the pit lane, same thing with Bishop. 4 tires going all the way around that 9 car. John Foreman's going to get out in time. And Tyler Stallhood will also exit the pit lane in an orderly fashion. Get a quick look at what happened here to Randall Coleman, even though we saw it live. Looping that car down the front straightaway. And the same exact thing that happened with Tyler Stallhood to bring out the opening caution of the day. Up on that high groove through turns 3 and 4. Back end stepped out from underneath of him. Spun that thing into victory lane a little too early. And brings out the yellow flag for caution number 2 of the night, right as Drew Fast was about to put his teammate a lap down. So all 5 cars packed together once again. Drew Fast has led all but 1 lap of the race. That was when RJ Bishop led the opening lap. But Drew has led the last 33 and has been absolutely dominating everything in sight so far this evening. This 5-car grid, which has been very competitive overall this evening. Green flag back out on the air here on lap 34, and RJ gets the jump on the outside. Drew gets the power down. Oh, Bishop going up into the wall, and Drew Fast losing control there on the 74, and that was a little bit of net code and a little bit of tire spin there for the 74, and Randall Coleman, who just caused that last caution, out front here in the Napa Know-How number 9. It's funny how things work like that. And now, Drew Fast trying to make up some ground. Here comes Tyler Stallhood trying to stuff it in there like a Thanksgiving turkey. Up to 3rd there for the Exalta Chevrolet and trying to make Revolution Motorsports 1-2. Back end's going to step out from him, and he just a bit barely avoids the tire barrier at the end or the entrance of the pits. He's just trying to get a hold of that race car, and he will fall down to 5th. How about John Foreman, who's been lagging in that, well, not really lagging, but he has been cruising in that 4th spot for the majority of this race up to now, up into 3rd, and now Drew Fast wants to get this race lead back after leading the opening 3rd of the race. Randall Coleman saying absolutely not. And if you're Randall, you know, this race isn't for points necessarily, but you certainly want to set off this next segment right on the right foot. After losing in a heartbreaking championship battle to Joshua Moyers, where, you know, Watkins Glen was Watkins Glen. Unfortunately, RNG lost a couple gears there for the 9 car. Up in the Finger Lakes 1 week ago and ran into the tire barrier, had to get towed back, and essentially handed the championship to Joshua Moyers for his first segment championship in the Fast Racing League for the driver of that 68 car. It's been a couple of years since Joshua Moyers came onto the scene here in the Fast Racing League, and glad to see him get rewarded for getting 3 or 4 wins on the season here in segment 1. He is not here tonight. I imagine he will be at Charlotte next week for what will likely be the longest race of the season here for the Fast Renegade Pro Cup Series. Quickly approaching the halfway point here tonight as we take a look at the upcoming schedule once again. We got Charlotte next week, Nashville, Michigan, Pocono, and San Diego for the opening 5 races. Sonoma is marks the halfway point. Chicago, Atlanta, North Wilkesboro, Indianapolis, Iowa, and Richmond to take us into the late summer stretch here. For the next 12 weeks of competition, we got an off week thrown in there after for the first week of August between Indy and Iowa. Fastest caught up to Randall Coleman. Those two nose to tail. Drew a little overzealous going down the back straightaway, got into the wall, but is going to try and creep up on the 9 car, and these two have pulled away from everybody else as Bishop and Foreman are going to chuck some knucks here going through turns 1 and 2. Tyler Stolhood, he's been in the outside wall a couple of different times. He is right now on the tail end of the lead lap and fast, trying to get underneath that 9 car. Not able to do so just yet in this race, but he is right on the back end of that Napa Know-How Chevrolet. He's looking for any sort of real estate to the inside. Randall's not giving him a whole lot. We go on board with the 74 Ford. He might get there. Ooh, Randall with a great save coming out of the corner. So I believe John Foreman has gone around in the 70. He's dropped back into the 5th spot. So every time we do an onboard with somebody here on the NASRN, somebody goes around, we miss some sort of action, and that's going to drop Foreman all the way back there in that 70 car. And RJ is going to be in a little bit of a zip code of himself, but now that's going to be more lap traffic as Coleman's going to get into the wall. Here comes Fast. We're past the halfway point. Fast has got the inside, Coleman has got the outside, and they're still just trying to go door to door with one another. Getting on the curb there a little bit on the apron was the 74, and this 9 machine looking very strong right now, but this 74 of Drew Fast has just got a rear view mirror full of that 9 car. Now let's go back up to the high side. 45 laps to go, and Drew just trying to get around Randall as these guys still catching up to lap traffic. Trying to give him the chrome horn there a little bit. That's not something you want to do here in NR2003. Last thing you want to do to a driver is netcode crash them. That's reserved for Tuesday nights instead of Sunday nights. And Drew, he's just putting a lot of pressure. Ooh, too much pressure on himself, and he completely stepped out there. Lost a lot of time after he had to catch the race car coming out of 4. And that was indeed a moment there for Drew Fast. And Tyler Stolhood has backed up to where this 9 car is, and Randall Coleman in the middle of lap traffic. Tyler just about looping that 7 car again. Bends it into the outside wall, avoids the tire barriers, but goes into the concrete in turns 1 and 2. Drew trying to set up a charge as Randall able to cleanly get around his teammate. Stolhood, he's just on ice skates right now as he pancaked the outside wall like he was at IHOP. 41 to go here in Hickory, make it 40 to go, and here comes Drew Fast, side by side for the race lead, just about swapping paint there at the start-finish line. Oh, there couldn't have been maybe a couple hundredths of a second between the 9 and the 74, and they're still side by side. Drew sliding up a little bit, had to catch that Ford. They had to desperately catch that Mustang, and that's going to allow Randall to get back over. And don't look now, RJ Bishop slowly but surely is catching back up to these top 2 drivers. He's trying to get around Tyler Stolhood. He will going around this next set of corners. He's only 2.5 seconds behind this 9 and 74. He might lose a little bit of time trying to get around this 7 car. I wouldn't count out there being another caution flag once again, and that could be it. John Foreman loops it around off of turn number 2. Is that the yellow flag? It is not. Second spin of the night for the Switchfoot 70 Camaro. And he's able to loop it right in the right direction. Meanwhile, Fast moving underneath the 9 once again. Can he get the quarter panel of that Camaro? He cannot. 34 to go. Fast still underneath of Coleman. These two putting on a heck of a battle here for the top spot. Oh, slides up, gets into the 9, and around goes Randall Coleman. The chrome horn not working at all, and Drew Fast also spun around the 74. That means RJ Bishop is gonna go into the lead. Oh, Lordy. Well, lap number 67 of the race was certainly not what you want, and RJ Bishop goes from 3rd to 1st. We talked about him lurking in that battle, and the top 2 take one another out, and this is likely going to be the money stop here. We're going to get this race restarted probably with just under 30 to go. Stallhood is going to stay out and get a lap back, and here we go. It's going to be a race. Ooh, I don't know. I think Randall may have beat the 99. I believe he did, as RJ had to drive around the 74 car. Coming out of his pits, and Randall Coleman will restart behind John Foreman, I believe. Actually, no. John is going to be on the tail end of the lead lap, but goodness gracious. We got to go ahead and see what happened there, as the top two drivers of the night taking one another out coming out of that fourth turn. And Drew was just getting really, really aggressive there with that 9 car, and this all starts going into turn number 3. Sends it in there, spins him around, loses control of the car himself. And here comes RJ Bishop picking up a couple spots, and I think Drew has got to be very lucky that he did not get a penalty for going backwards. John Foreman's getting the wave around, so here we go. 29 laps remain at Hickory. Randall Coleman still going to be the leader with Drew Fast right behind him after giving him a little bit of more of a chrome horn. Here we go. Just over 10 miles to go here at Hickory. Green flag back out in the air. RJ gets the run on the outside. Can he put the hammer down? Randall's been really good on that inside lane. RJ's been really good on the outside. Had to get out of the gas there a little bit. Net coating in and out just a tad in that double 9 car. Coleman tracks up the track. Here comes Fast, and Tyler Stallhood, lo and behold, right back into the thick of things. Just we say that he's dirt tracking that car through turn number 4. And here comes Fast once again right underneath this 9 car. Fantastic racing all throughout tonight. You see all 5 cars all under a blanket here at Hickory. And this has just been some good old-fashioned short track racing here tonight. And if you want to be a part of this good old-fashioned short track racing, as Stallhood's going to go up into that 3rd spot. Of course, you got the link for the Fast Racing League Discord server down in the description box below. Any driver of any level of talent, welcome here in Fast. And it is so much fun from a competitive level. And we absolutely want to get as many people in here as we can. But even with just 5 guys in the server, these guys have been putting on a show. Coleman back out front. He's led the most laps here tonight. Drew Fast, who has not led a lap since the opening stint. Still trying to get there, and this is going to be a pretty good battle for 3rd between Stallhood and RJ Bishop. I don't know. I think Randall's got a really good chance of getting his 2nd consecutive win here on the NASRN. Ooh, goes up the track into the wall, but Drew also tailed up the track. Wasn't able to take advantage there, and these guys driving the absolute wheels off these next-gen cars. 20 laps to go here at Hickory. And we are still far from over, ladies and gentlemen. This has been so much fun. And Drew has just been right on the back end of this 9 car for the better part of the last 30-odd laps. Ever since that restart after the 2nd lap or the caution of the race, it has been the Fast and Coleman show. Randall and Drew going door to door, side by side, banging fenders, even taking each other out. Randall has had the upper edge on Drew for the majority of the night. What can Fast do against the boss man here in that Napa 9 car? You know, that would be funny. It seems like whenever Chase Elliott has a bad day, Randall Coleman tends to win, as Fast nearly got that 9 car ledge. He's there. He's got a little bit of a pocket through turns 3 and 4, looking to slide up. Doesn't get into that Chevrolet. And once again, you beg this battle here for 3rd between Stallhood and Bishop. This could pay dividends if these two get together once again. Again, there's no points on the line. There is nothing but bragging rights. Bragging rights and just saying, hey, and just a win without having to worry about championship implications. 15 laps to go, make it 14, make it 13 to go here at the Hickory Motors Speedway. Drew goes up the racetrack. 12 to go here this time by, and we are just counting down the laps as RJ has gotten around Stallhood. And Tyler's going to drop back into fourth. John Foreman might be in the way of these top two drivers. See this Valvoline Mustang get into the Napa Camaro already once. Here he comes down to the low side. Just about even going down the back straightaway. Coming around to 10 laps to go, and they are still side by side, door to door, wheel to wheel, toe link to toe link. Drew's gonna get the lap led that time by. He's clear off of turn 2. Here comes the crossover from Randall. Coleman trying to put the power down, not able to get so in time. 9 laps to go. These two battling side by side the way they were has made this a 3-horse race. RJ trying to get back in the dance, and Drew starting to run out there. He'll get around Sean. He nearly got run over by his fellow Chevrolets. Oh, Randall sliding the back end of that 9 car out. That may have cost him the win. Oh, and it's going to spin him around right in front of the field. And the caution flag flies late in the running here at Hickory. Oh my goodness. 4th caution of the night with 7 laps to go. You cannot make this up. RJ Bishop will go to 2nd. And does anybody come down the pit lane? Randall Coleman, Tyler Stallhood will. Oh, this is gonna be fun. Ho, ho, ho. Third time tonight, Randall Coleman has gone into a 360. You'll get the replay here in a second. And that was pretty much just inevitable, the way that he had been running in that 9 car. Looped it around right in the middle of the racing groove. And again, there's automatic cautions here in fast. So that's why the yellow flag was immediately displayed. And we are going to be getting a quickie yellow. John Foreman still in the pits. I don't know. We might extend this yellow flag, or he might just be a lap down and will rejoin the field. But here we go. It's going to be a 3-lap dash to the end of this race. And these next 45 seconds are going to be fantastic. You've got Drew Fast with Randall Coleman right behind him. RJ Bishop, Tyler Stallhood, green flag back into the air. 3 laps to go here at Hickory. RJ just trying to utilize the outside on these restarts. He's been so effective here. Oh, and Drew just about stepping out. He's able to save it. Here comes Bishop. He's going to pancake the wall. 2 to go. Drew just trying to block on the outside. Bishop gets into the wall. 2 laps to go, and all around goes the 99. He is going to spin. White flag is in the air. John Foreman goes around. The yellow flag is out. And that will do it. I believe that will do it. They had taken the white flag. And we shall see. Yeah, they're going to take the checkered flag. And Drew Fast wins a wild one here at the Hickory Motors Speedway in the Hickory Exhibition. How about that race, ladies and gentlemen? Wow. My, oh my. How about that for Drew Fast? Bookending this race with spectacular performances. He is your winner of tonight's exhibition race here in Hickory, North Carolina. He's going to burn it down. He was aggressive, and In a race like this, only 100 laps here at Hickory, that aggressiveness is going to pay off in spades, and that's exactly what we saw out of this Valvoline Ford team here tonight. Drew Fast, your winner of the Hickory exhibition here for tonight's contest, and what a race that was here this evening, folks. That's one heck of a way to get this second segment of the season kicked off here. And what a job done by these drivers here tonight. That was absolutely fantastic. And we will once again go down here and get our post-race interviews set up with everybody. How about that? Drew Fast, Randall Coleman, and Tyler Stallhood will end up being the final driver on the podium. We'll hear from all those drivers here in just a couple of moments after a wildly fun race here at the Hickory Motor Speedway, where Drew Fast leads 41 laps to win here tonight at Hickory. We'll be back in just a couple moments.
Give me what I need, give me what I want. I want that speed. Yeah, I want that.
And we are back here at the Hickory Motors Speedway after a fantastic race here at Hickory, North Carolina's very own Hickory Speedway. Drew Fast in dramatic fashion, taking home the Octane checkered flag after our exhibition race of the night. And you know what? We've still got all 5 drivers in the server. So we're going to go ahead and send things downstairs. We're going to interview all 5 drivers, starting with the driver that finished a little bit later in the grid there in car number 70. We'll get him up at the booth here. And there we go, driver of the number 70, Switchfoot Chevrolet Camaro. Mr. John Foreman, you got a copy of us here in the broadcast booth? Well, that was certainly an up and down race for you guys here tonight. You came into the server a little bit late as the 5th car, and you were kind of in that 5th and 3rd spot, fluctuating all throughout tonight. But first and foremost, how does it feel to be back? You know, even though it's only been a week since segment 1 wrapped up, but how does it feel going into segment 2 here of the season? Well, that's certainly going to be a lot of fun here for you. You go being out in San Diego now. Is that the same weekend as the NASCAR Cup Series? The NASCAR parade is out there at Coronado? Yeah, that 37 Switchfoot show is definitely going to be a lot of fun. But you look ahead to this upcoming segment. You know, it's a very robust segment here, and
Yep.
you said that you're going to be missing a couple of weeks, but overall you got a couple of road courses, you got a couple of short tracks. That's really been up your alley as of recently. What are you looking forward to in this upcoming segment, and what are you looking forward to as a little bit of a challenge here for the 70 team?
Yeah, absolutely. So I always look forward to MIS my whole life. I mean, I live 40 minutes from there. So I go to the races, and so it's just a great track. You know, it's not even one of my better tracks in the sim, but I think it puts on some phenomenal races on NR2003, and so that should be a fun one. Coke 600 is always really fun. I am trying to get in Randall's ear and convince him to do 100% length for that one. I don't think it'll work, but you know, it's worth a shot, right? And yeah, I mean, I look forward to pretty much all the tracks. I mean, I'm not as good at the road courses, but you know what? I'm still out there to have fun and you know, so should be fun.
Hey, you know what? Having fun in this sim is what it's all about, and we're glad to have you a part of it. It was a fantastic race here tonight. Even though you're kind of on the back end of the spectrum here, you were still a part of what was a thoroughly entertaining race here at Hickory. So, John, before we'll let you go, we'll give you the floor to thank any sponsors you want. If there's anybody that you want to shout out here on the NASRN for a 5th place finisher here for tonight's broadcast, for tonight's race, John, the floor is yours.
Boy, put me on the hot seat here. Yeah, no, I'd shout out my dad. Actually, he actually came over to my house yesterday, and we went out to a Joe Satriani, Steve Vai concert over here in Detroit, and I had a ton of fun hanging out this weekend. And you know, very grateful for him, my mom, for all they've done for me over the years. Those are the true sponsors. Are you kidding me? They're the ones who bought me my first steering wheel when we were like 10 years old, right? I still use the same Microsoft Sidewinder today, right? So. Always grateful, and it was a lot of fun hanging out with them. So,
well, definitely glad to hear that you guys are having a blast out there in Detroit, and yeah, it's going to be a fun season watching you guys race it out and duke it out here on the track. But John, thank you so much for coming into the post-race interview, and we'll see you throughout the season. And most importantly, when you're not here, have fun seeing Switchfoot once again.
that's the goal. Thanks again. Have a good one.
That was John Foreman, driver of the number 70 Switchfoot Chevrolet Camaro, your 5th place finisher here for tonight's race. A wild one here at Hickory, and bringing in our 4th place finisher, driver of the number 99, Travis Pastrana, Ford Mustang. After a very up and down week here for Mr. RJ Bishop. Got a copy of us here in the broadcast booth.
Yeah, what up?
Not that much. I mean, you were kind of up in the air Wednesday night in the Fuel All-Star race, but here tonight, it was certainly very up and down for you as you started on the outside pole of this race, and it was a very fun race for us to watch in the booth, but how was it out there out on the track for you guys?
It was very, very tight, to be honest, but lap time-wise, I'm surprised I was keeping up, but with Randall and Drew, but I was just winging it, to be honest, and hope I can keep up.
Well, hey, it's an exhibition race for a reason, and you guys certainly put on a show there for the fans, which is what this is all about. And, you know, we saw you a little bit in the last segment, and then coming into this segment, we'll hopefully see you a little bit more. But, you know, going into the second segment of the season, you know, looking at this upcoming schedule, it's a very robust schedule. What are you looking forward to scheduling-wise from the wide variety of tracks that we've got, and what are you looking at the schedule like, okay, it's going to be a challenge, but I'm definitely up for it?
Depending on my work schedule, but I'm going to try to do the short tracks and maybe a couple mile and a half, but I don't know what I'm going to do with my work schedule, so you never know.
We'll definitely have to, we'll look forward to seeing you whenever you're able to make it, and you know what, it's certainly fun having you out here, both on Wednesday nights, some Friday nights, and some Sunday nights as well here on the NASRN. And, you know, overall, you know, for this, you know, you go back, you know, last season, you had some struggles, you got this upcoming season, and, you know, how do you really think, you know, just across the, being one of the drivers here tonight that is braced in both fuel and fast, how would you say the skill set changes here between the two leagues?
Oh, God, it's different because one side is fits only and one's open, but I adapt and the best I can. One side has good drivers, one side has even better drivers. You just got to adapt at some point.
Well, it's certainly a different skill set here for each series, but we definitely love both of them, and they put on some great racing products here in the NR Online community, and we're so glad to have you a part of these races as well, RJ.
Thanks.
Well, you know the drill, RJ. Before we'll let you go here and enjoy the rest of your Sunday night, we'll give you the floor to thank any sponsors that you want. If there's anybody on the, if there's anybody you want to shout out here on the NASRN airwaves for our 4th place finisher here tonight, Mr. RJ. You got to, Mr. RJ, the floor is yours.
I want to thank Ford, Warren Leeds Racing. Wish my teammates were here, but it is what it is. But hopefully, I'm around more often for Sundays, but we'll see what happens.
And we shall see where the cards fall, and hopefully we'll try to get you in as many races as you can, because these Sunday night races, as you can see, they're very tight here for these drivers, for you guys down on the actual asphalt, but they are so much fun for us at home, and it is certainly a privilege to watch you guys rumble around here at at these insane speeds. But RJ, thanks for coming on post-race. We'll see you Wednesday night for the fuel season opener. We'll hopefully see you a couple more times here over on Sunday nights here in the Fast Renegade Pro Cup Series.
Alrighty.
User was moved out of
That was
your
RJ
channel.
Bishop, driver of the number 99, Travis Pastrana, Ford Mustang. Your 4th place finisher here tonight. We'll bring in, as we're talking about the Fuel Racing League, bringing in the boss man here for the Fuel Racing League, and able to recover up to a 3rd place finish here tonight, Mr. Tyler Stallhood. You got a copy of us here in the broadcast booth?
I do.
Well, you certainly had the epitome of an up-and-down night here this evening, struggling in the opening, let's say 95 laps of this race, being able to survive the chaos late to get a 3rd place finish. And first and foremost, glad to be back here for segment 2. And I know you guys are all excited to hear for segment 2 as well.
Yeah, segment two, we're just looking we're kind of looking over the schedule in the waiting room, and we're just all getting excited about the rest of the season. Segment two and segment three, pretty cool. There's a lot of cool tracks on there that we haven't raced at in a while, and a couple mainstays, of course. I mean, you've got Chicagoland coming back. We've got possibly San Diego making its debut on the sim. A lot to look forward to.
We certainly have a lot to look forward to as you take a look at the schedule down in the bottom left. And, you know, going and talking about this race here tonight, we were talking a little bit pre-race on things, and on a very small and technical track like this, it's classic short track racing. That's what Hickory is all about. How tough was it on tire wear out there, and how tough was it trying to find that narrow groove to really get your line?
I still don't have any idea what I was doing out there tonight. I usually think of myself as a decent short track driver, at least keeping it between the mustard and the mayonnaise. But tonight was just I don't know, something about that track. I don't know if it's because it's so small or because the track almost looks symmetrical, but it's not. But you still kind of drive it like it is. Um, and I think that my best line was when I was taking as a late apex, so entering high and exiting low. But there was some weird bumps exiting the corners, both in two and four,
Mhm.
that would just upset the suspension. And you saw a few people spin out tonight just out of nowhere.
Yeah,
So I'm not sure. Maybe there's too much horsepower behind these cars for this little track, or what?
Well, I mean, hey, horsepower in next gen cars is typically an oxymoron, but put these cars in real life, put some horsepower in the real life next gen cars, and even put them at a track like Hickory that's going to put on an absolute show like we had here tonight. And overall, despite only having 5 cars in the field, it was very, very competitive throughout most of the entire pack. And can you really attribute that to just the level of competition we see here in Fast? And overall, would you like to see some of these guys come over onto a Wednesday nights here to field? We already saw Randall Coleman pretty much kick the field up and down the concrete on Wednesday night at Dover. So how do you think we're going to be running here in Fast here in segment 2? And how do you think Fuel Season 9 is really going to go here in the next, starting in here in a couple days at Charlotte?
I think that Fuel and Fast both have a similar situation where no matter what size the field is, the cream rises to the top, and there's competition all throughout the roster. Tonight, if there was a 40-car field tonight, I would not have finished third, but there would be just as much action to see. 5 cars, 8 cars, 15 cars. We see it all, the fuel side and the fast side, and there's always good battles up front. Um, Foreman, he's usually a force to be reckoned with. RJ always. And by the way, I apologize to RJ in real time, but what happened was his internet. He's racing on a hotspot, so coming out of four there, I meant to be on his bumper, um, but not making contact with him. I was lifting and quitting him, but his internet decided that we made contact, and he spun out. I tried to give up all my spots, but the game decided that I finished third, 1 lap down, and RJ and John finished behind me, also 1 lap down.
Good old NR2003 netcode. I think
Yeah.
the running joke in the NR community is that the netcode for NR really just kind of crawled, so the netcode for iRacing could run. And
Yep.
that's just the one thing about this 23-year-old game that is just the online with the certain netcode qualities that we've got here is just kind of a little bit irksome, but that's just a minor nitpick for what has just been a fantastic game that is still just, putting down absolute bangers 23 years later. We were talking about it a little bit earlier on in the broadcast, just how beautiful cosmetically this track was. We've got the next-gen cars here that have existed for the last 4 years, and there is no sim like Enter 2003, both skill level wise and content wise. And it's just we're just so glad to be a part of this awesome community.
Yeah, you got it right. That very last word there just sums it all up. The community is what makes it what it is. The content, the community, just the racing, everything. It's all like a collaborative effort too. So all the content you see is the result of a team effort. All the racecraft that you see the drivers putting on, that's a community effort as well. I mean, you know, I don't know. It's hard to describe to people who are not familiar with the NR2003 community, but things like think about RuneScape. My old roommate, he's big on the RuneScape side of the video game sphere, and he was comparing his RuneScape game to NR2003. Just how the community is over there. They're still keeping. I think the games came out around the same time too, but still releasing content after all these years, and there's still a support network built into the community, just keeping everything alive. And over on the Live for Speed side, my brother still races in Live for Speed, and that's kind of like a homebrew community as well. All kinds of stuff still coming out for Live for Speed, and he's been playing that since we lived with our mom and dad. So 25 years in the making. Live for Speed still going. It's amazing these old video games still just they have a group that just kind of surrounds it and embraces it and just keeps it alive.
I know, and it's just a beautiful thing here, especially for this game that's just over 2 decades old. It's going to be coming up on a quarter of a century old here in the next 2 years, and I feel like 2027, 2028 is going to be a massive celebration for this game once it gets to the 25-year mark, which is just crazy to think about it. But overall, bangers like tonight is what keeps this game alive, and you guys putting on an excellent show was fantastic. But Tyler, before we'll let you go, you know the drill. If there's anybody, we'll give you the floor to thank any sponsors that you've got. Or if there's anybody you want to shout out here on the NASRN airwaves for a third-place finisher here tonight in the Hickory exhibition. Tyler Stallhood, the floor is yours.
Well, I just have to appreciate the Fast Racing League community of everyone who just comes out and puts on a good show. Randall and Revolution Motorsports have given me a spot on the team this year. I joined Fast back in 2016, and I've been kind of here and there trying to get on to Revolution. So happy to be finally on board, and hoping that I can at least prove that I'm somewhat worthy of a spot alongside Randall, Josh, and Zach on a part-time basis. Kind of circling some dates on the calendar, hoping to score a win this year over at Fast, and over at Fuel. The open setup stuff. It's a little easier sometimes to kind of cater things to your liking and put together some wins. I've got a couple over there this year already, so kicking off a new season this Wednesday at Charlotte, and it'll be my 100th point paying race. So I'm running a special number. Me and Apollo have traded numbers for that race, so I'll be in the 100 and he'll be in the 7. It'll be a sight to see. Hope you don't get too confused with that switcheroo.
I'll try not
to. putting in 100 starts in that league just goes to show how the longevity of that league kind of rose from the ashes of the previous iteration of Fuel, which for those who are in the know, kind of got enveloped into the USORL iRacing. That kind of one thing led to another, and that's kind of where the bloodline went for Fuel. But I gathered up a few people and rose it back up, and it was supposed to be just an experiment, just to get some people racing together that may not cross paths in the various leagues that we were representing at the time. But it's kind of got its own wings now, and 100 starts out of 101 races, or 102. I've missed 2 races in the history of this iteration of Fuel. So we just passed 100 races of the new iteration history. So thank everybody on that side as well, coming together and supporting Fuel. But yeah, so Fuel and Fast, a lot of fun on both sides of the coin this year. Schedule's looking awesome on both sides, and I'm just thrilled to be a part of it.
Hey, we're thrilled to be a part of it as well here on the broadcast aspect. As you can find, pretty much the majority should be broadcast the majority of the Fast race this year, and should be broadcasting almost every Fuel race as well, at least on the Grand National side of things. For sportsmen, those are the Apollo Hyde Friday night shebangs. Those are also closed setup. Those are a blast as well, and we'll have tons of online content, particularly over the next couple weeks or so. We'll go over the upcoming broadcast schedule here in a couple moments. But Tyler, thank you so much for coming on here post-race, and we'll see you Wednesday night for your 100 start here in a Fuel Grand National car.
Yes, sir. Thank you, and always, as always, Trey. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you so much, man.
User left your channel.
That was Tyler Stallhood, driver of the number 7 Revolution Motorsports Exalta Chevrolet Camaro. I'll bring in the runner-up finisher of this race.
User was
Driver
moved to
of the
your
number
channel.
9 Napa Auto Parts Chevrolet Camaro for Revolution Motorsports. The runner-up finisher here tonight, Mr. Randall Coleman. You got a copy of us here in the broadcast booth?
I got you.
Well, I think that putting Hickory as the exhibition race to start segment 2 was not just a home run, it was a grand slam. Despite only having 5 cars in the grid, that was one of the more exciting races that we're going to see here in quite some time. And you and Drew were just going door to door, battling it out in the last half of this race. You know, how is it really battling a driver like Drew that you know he's going to be very aggressive? You're also equally as aggressive. And then you guys getting into one another a little bit here and there, and how is it just battling a driver like that, especially at a very tough track like Hickory?
It's just one of those short track racing kind of, nights. You get out there, you're going to bump and bang a little bit. Like you said, he's usually a lot more of an aggressor, I would say, than I am. I like to kind of approach things as like an intimidator kind of style. Like I'll get up on your bumper and try to make you mess up without hitting you or anything of the sort. But kind of threw away the lead there late in the race and had to play catch up and drove a little bit too hard there and spun it out. So that's just short track racing at its finest.
It definitely is, and we saw that on full display here tonight. We saw single groove racing. We saw side by side racing. We even saw the bump and the bump and run go both right and wrong here for several drivers tonight. What makes Hickory a track that it looks very simple to drive, but once you drive it, you know that it is just a different beast than everything else. What sets Hickory apart from other short tracks we've got on the schedule, such as Bristol or even Iowa or Richmond?
I think a lot of it with Hickory is, one, it's an old school style racing track, kind of like the, I guess it's somewhat of the roots of NASCAR racing or racing in general. It's one of those old school short tracks where you can beat and bang. And like you said earlier, you can get side by side with somebody. If you pinch them down just enough, you can keep that run off the high side because that way they get loose or they start getting tight. They got to lift, and that allows you to get that run off the turn. But compared to like Bristol and Dover and some of them other short tracks, where you can beat and bang as well, I feel like those styles of racing is like you got to use a little bit more brake. You got to be careful of how you enter the turn, how you come out of the turn. Here, you could just drive it in. Like, you could drive it in however deep you want it to and make it stick and then be able to power off. And that's what really created the side-by-side racing. Whereas, like, Bristol, you see, like, low-line dominance. You have to really, like, beat somebody off the turn to get underneath them or like you said, hit them and move them up out of the way. And you see that, like, Martinsville, too. Martinsville and Bristol, and not so much Dover. Dover, you got a little bit more places to run, but you also have to have your car set up right for it. So a lot of these old school short tracks, where you can beat and bang on each other and kind of lean on each other, it makes it a little bit more exciting.
It definitely does, and we saw that in full spades here tonight. But going into this upcoming segment of the season, you've got 12 very different racetracks. You've got pretty much everything you can think of. You've got a super speedway in Atlanta. You've got a couple of road courses back to back with the San Diego and Sonoma, and you've got mile and a halves. You've got several short tracks in there as well. First and foremost, it's kind of a two-part question. First, as a driver that's trying to get back at the championship for the second segment, but also from a league owner and a league admin as well, what are you looking forward to for this upcoming segment, from both a competitor and as an admin?
So as a competitor, coming up in this season, the second segment I think is one of our strongest segments. There's a lot of really good racetracks that's coming up that benefits myself. I've always been really good at Charlotte. I think I've won the last two out of three, if not all of them. I'm not 100% sure. I have to go all the way back and look, but I know I've won like two of them here recently. So we really usually have a really good run at Charlotte. Nashville is kind of hit and miss for us, but Michigan and Pocono we usually run pretty decent at. Um, we got close to getting a win at Pocono. And then the road courses. We've always been really good at road courses. So being able to go out there and race at the new San Diego circuit coming up, that's going to be a lot of fun. We wound up winning last year at Chicagoland, so being able to go back to that in this segment is another plus for us. And we've been really strong with the short tracks. So with North Wilkesboro and Iowa and Richmond, which was two races that we won last season, I think we finished second at North Wilkesboro at Zach last year. Three of those four in the playoffs is a really big plus for us. So from a competitor standpoint, it's looking pretty good for me this season. I'm very, very confident with segment 2 for us and having the results that we need. Compared, as long as the internet holds up, that's the big thing. As long as the internet holds up for us, we should have some really good runs this year or this segment. From an admin standpoint, I see 12, like you said, unique races that, yes, as a competitor, we've had some really strong runs at those tracks, but there's a lot of opportunity for other people because if you go back and you look at last year, pretty sure like Nashville, Michigan, Pocono, Sonoma, North Wilkesboro, all those races was won by Zach Rogers last year. So with him taking a step away from NR2003, that opens the door for a lot more people to come in here and be competitive and have those opportunities to wind up in victory lane. So don't remember quite off the top of my head who all finished in the top two, top three there at those tracks last year behind Zach, but obviously, it gives people a lot more opportunity to come out here and race and be competitive and go for those wins.
It definitely does, and like you mentioned, with Zach Rogers not being here for the majority of the races this season, it absolutely opens the door for pretty much a wide variety of drivers to try and end up in Gatorade Victory Lane, and it'll be definitely fun to see just how many different winners we get here. Of course, Joshua Moyers and you and pretty much all the Revolution guys are going to be at the top of the game and the top of the charts, but we got guys like RJ Bishop, like John Foreman, like Drew Fast, who got here tonight. He showed a lot of speed. They're going to be guys that are going to be front runners as well, and it's going to be so much fun to see how these guys race here. Santiago Gutierrez, Oscar Ramos Jr., to name a couple more guys as well. It's going to be a ton of fun to see how many front runners we've got here tonight, or how many front runners we'll have here in this second segment of 2026. But Randall, you know the drill by now. We'll give you the floor to thank any sponsors that you want. If there's anybody you want to shout out here on the NASR airwaves, for runner-up finisher, as well as the league admin. Randall, the floor is yours.
I want to give a shout out to Napa, Amazon. They've been our car the majority of the season. We're going to be adding a few new ones coming up here for this segment and segment 3 as well. So looking forward to having those partnerships as well here at a later date. But they've been on our cars all season long. So without them, we wouldn't be able to be up here running in the front, being competitive every weekend, week out. Got to give a shout out to all my teammates, Tyler and Josh, and even Zach. Like I said before, I've always said it. Those guys, they push me each week. And to come out here and race at a short track like tonight, I know we talked about it last Wednesday after I won the All-Star race over at Fuel. I went and got surgery on my finger on Thursday. So it's kind of awkward racing tonight with my pinky kind of not being able to grasp the wheel. It just kind of stick out to the side. So kind of a little awkward, but, we still wound up getting it done. We were able to finish second racing like that. But hopefully here on the 28th, we're getting those stitches out. So we'll be able to that wheel a little bit better and, get out there and race a little bit competitive. But gotta give a shout out to my girlfriend. You know, she lets me come on here every night on Sundays and race. So if I don't give her a shout out, she might yell at me. I always say that, but I'm really kidding. Gotta give a shout out to all the guys who come out here each week and week in and week out. You know, without them, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing every week. And being able to have a place for them to call home, or at least a place to come on a Sunday night and race. So you know, with Tyler's help and a few other guys from like MOT and stuff, with Tate and all them, having people come over from those leagues and race with us, you know, I can't be thankful enough to have them support us every single week. And like I said, you know, I'm hoping that this season here, with things going the way that they should go, you know, maybe we can get that field size up, maybe from 10 to 15, maybe 15 to 20, because I think a lot of these tracks are going to be fun for a lot of people. So being able to see more newer faces come out here. It is the summer now. I know people kind of want to get out. Schools are out now. People out enjoying themselves. You know, be something for them to come out here on Sunday and race with us. Want to give you a shout out. You know, you've come on here and done a lot of these races for us, and I know we got some things in the works here for down the road in the future. But for you to come out here and display this league and what we do every week and what we're capable of, and trying to draw more people in, you know, that's a awesome thing to have. So you know, thanks to you and your other two commentators that you have on Wednesday night. You know, they were, you know, I think you had one of them come over here one night. I don't remember which one
We
it
had
was.
Caleb, I think.
Yeah, I think that's who it was. But, you know, when they come on board and then come over here and commentate too. So, you know, give them a shout out as well.
Yeah, it certainly takes a village to put on these broadcasts, but you guys are the ones that make it the action happen on the track, and you guys are the stars of putting on these broadcasts. And you know, without you guys, we would just be, you know, watching asphalt heat up on a track. And ultimately, you guys are really what put these broadcasts all together. What really makes all these broadcasts. And couldn't thank you enough for letting us hop on board here once again for this second segment of season 2, or 2026, I should say. But Randall, thank you so much for stopping by post race, and we'll hopefully see you on a couple of Fuel Grand National races as well this season. But we'll definitely see you Sunday nights here for what is going to be a very, very fun second segment of 2026.
Absolutely. I know Tyler's been really after me about trying to race some more on Wednesday, so we'll see what we can do.
We'll definitely have to wait and see, but future looks bright here for Fast, and we cannot wait here for the rest of 2026. So we'll see you next week down in Charlotte.
Thanks, sir.
User was moved out of your channel.
That was Randall Coleman, driver of the number 9 Napa Auto Parts Chevrolet Camaro for Revolution Motorsports. The runner-up finisher here tonight, as well as the league owner here for the Fast Racing League. It's time to bring in our race winner here tonight.
User
Absolutely
was moved to your channel.
dominating the first third of the race, the last 10 laps of the night. Driver the number 74 Valvoline Ford Mustang. Mr. Drew Fast, you got a copy of us here in the broadcast booth?
I do. What's up?
Well, it was you were certainly up and running, and you definitely were racing like your namesake out there tonight. Absolutely blitzing the field, leading the opening 32 laps of the race before that second caution. And then ever since then, that point, in the second third of the race, up until the final 10 laps, it was you and Randall Coleman really battling it out. You guys were nose to tail, and you guys made some contact a couple times, spun each other out. And how was it racing a driver? How was it really racing out there? Going door to door with one of the best here in Fast, especially at a rustic track like this.
Yeah, so it was a lot of fun. This track was actually a lot of fun. It seems like for whatever reason at these expedition short track races, it just seems like for whatever reason those seem to be the tracks I'm good at, which is weird because I don't really consider myself to be good at short tracks. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Racing Randall was obviously a lot of fun. I felt like I was definitely fast, and if I had kept the lead, I felt like I was going to be able to keep the lead. But then the 99 had some net coding happen and almost spun me out, and I lost the lead there. So the rest of the race was basically just trying to get back past Randall, and Randall was fast, and it was hard to pass on this track. Definitely, I would get inside of him for some reason, but it would just get like really tight. And unfortunately, one of those times when I got inside of him, it got really tight and slid up into him and spun around. So that wasn't great, but yeah, it was just a lot of fun, and just racing him hard to get back past him. And managed to do it in the last 2 laps.
Yeah, and that final 3-lap stint was just absolute cinema there. Take us through that final restart of the race where you started on the inside of row number 2, right behind that 9 car. Or actually, no, you started from the pole position, from the first spot, if I'm not mistaken, with Randall right behind you, and then just take us through that final restart with only a mile to go in this race.
Yeah, so I had found in practice and also during the race that there wasn't very much tire fall off, maybe like a tenth or so at most. So I knew that with that last caution, I was definitely not going to go to pit. I was going to stay out and make sure I stayed in the front because, like I said earlier, it was hard to pass if you were, somewhat similar on speed with the person you were trying to pass. So I definitely wanted to keep the lead there, and I knew as long as I kept the lead, I would have a pretty good chance of winning. Randall had new tires, so he was like my biggest threat, I felt like, but I also felt like I could keep the lead because there wasn't much fall off. I did get pretty loose on the cold tires going into, I think it was like turn 3 and 4, and almost went around, but kept it straight. And after that, it was pretty much I just kept the lead.
Yeah, and you, what a way to open up a segment 2 here for you guys this season, getting this win here tonight. What does it mean for you to really establish a lot of, establish themselves as really a race-winning pace for you guys here in this opening race of the season, and then taking a look at the 12-race calendar, which is how diverse the schedule is. What are some tracks that you're really looking forward to in this upcoming segment? What are some tracks that you're seeing and like, okay, going to be a little bit of a struggle, but I'm up for the challenge? And overall, what are your expectations here for this upcoming segment here at Fast?
I haven't really looked at the schedule that much, but yeah, I mean, winning, like I said, I won the expedition race at Bowman Gray at the start of the last segment and wasn't able to really follow it up. So hopefully this time I can follow it up. I do like 1.5-mile tracks, so hopefully, we got a bunch of those coming up. So hopefully we can do something there.
We'll certainly have to see as you, especially towards the end of that last segment, in the last couple of races at Texas and Talladega and Watkins Glen, we're certainly putting on some pretty good pace on the rest of the field. And so I think that first points win of 2026 is certainly just around the corner, up around the bend, as John Fogerty once said. But I think some things are definitely looking bright in your future here in the RPCS. But Drew, you know the drill here. If you will give you the floor to thank any sponsors that you want. If there's anybody you want to shout out here on the NASRN airwaves for our race winner here tonight in Hickory, North Carolina, Drew Fast, you got the floor.
Just like always, I like to shout out everybody who runs these things still, this many years after the game came out and put on the show every week. So thank you all of them. And then I think my girlfriend's watching, so hello to her. And yeah, thank you for the broadcast. They're pretty awesome.
Hey, you guys are the ones that put on the action. If it wasn't for you guys putting on a banger of a race here tonight, we would literally just be watching asphalt heat up and the clouds go by in the sky. So you guys are the true attractions, and we're just the ones that are able to bring the action to everybody else. And some great action, some entertaining action here tonight, and you were able to end up on top here. Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
User was moved out
That was
of your
Drew Fast,
channel.
driver of the number 74 Valvoline Ford Mustang, your winner of a wild, wild race here tonight at the Hickory Motor Speedway. And Hickory does not disappoint here on the NASRN. And Fast doesn't disappoint here on the NSRN. And Drew Fast is going to get the checkered flag here, the first checkered flag of segment number 2 of the season. Once again, looking at the upcoming schedule here for this next season, this next segment of the Fast Racing League, the Fast Racing League's Renegade Pro Cup Series. You got Charlotte next week. That's going to be on May 24th, so that's going to be essentially running simultaneously with the Coke 600, as far as I know. We'll get the updated schedule out and away. We got Nashville, Michigan, and Pocono. That's going to be the first month of races, and the cutoff here is going to be for the Chase is going to be after Atlanta. That's going to be the Chase cutoff. You got North Wilkesboro, Indianapolis, Iowa, and Richmond will be the 4 Chase races here in segment number 2 of 2026. And taking a look at the upcoming broadcast slate as well here on the NESRN. This upcoming Wednesday, we ring in season number 9 officially with a points-paying race here for the Fuel Grand National Series. That's going to be over at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, just a hop and a skip south of here down in Concord, North Carolina. The Charlotte festivities will carry on throughout this entire week here with the Mission Barbecue Cup Series Offline League. Going further there, only 600-mile race of the 2026 regular season. We've got another 600-mile race later on here for the NBCS later in the Chase. We also got the season points opener from Charlotte as well on May 24th, like we were talking about. Then we go down to the Nashville Super Speedway for a couple of races as well for Nashville weekend. That kicks off on Wednesday, May 27th for Fuel Grand National. Then we go down to Talladega on Friday, May 29th for Fuel Sportsman, the first time in a month that the Sportsman cars will be back here on the NASRN before NBCS as well as Fast will partake down in the Music City on Saturday, May 30th and Sunday, May 31st. Here on the NASRN, that's our upcoming slate of broadcasts here on your home for all sorts of NR2003 offline and online content. The North American Sim Racing Network. And that is essentially going to do it here for tonight's broadcast. As that's going to do it here from the Hickory Motor Speedway. Congratulations once again to Drew Fast for winning the Hickory Exhibition Race. Like we said, Wednesday night we're going to be back for the season premiere of Fuel Grand National. Race number 1 of the season from Charlotte airs on Wednesday at 8:50 p.m. Eastern Time, and then we open segment 2 points-wise Sunday night for Fast from Charlotte as well, right here on your home for the Fuel and Fast Racing Leagues, the NASRN. Thank you all so much for tuning in to tonight's broadcast of the Fast Renegade Pro Cup Series. And from Hickory, North Carolina, on behalf of Randall Coleman, the Fast Racing League, and the North American Sim Racing Network, my name is Trey Wright. Have a great evening, folks. We'll see you next Wednesday, this upcoming Wednesday, and throughout this entire next week from down in the Queen City of Charlotte for our first couple of points-paying races of the season for both Fast and Fuel here on the NASRN.